Shout out to everybody. I want to talk to y'all real quick. Hold on for a minute. Wait a minute. Shout outs. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk about this battle. I don't want to be like one of these bloggers that's always, I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to talk about that, and never do it. Like, let me do this recap on this battle real quick. Shout out to Rum Nitty and Snake Eyes. I think they did pretty good. You know what I'm saying? My personal opinion, I think they did good. I think, if you're a fan of Snake Eyes, I think you're going to be happy. If you're a fan of Rum Nitty, I think you're going to be, happy. It is what it is. I think this is one of the best Snake Eyes that we've seen. And Rum Nitty, he took the battle serious, and a lot of times you don't get artists that get real serious with battles often, especially if it's not a big marquee battle. You don't necessarily get that all the time. So I appreciate both of these guys for the work that they put into this battle. And that's why I'm doing this recap. You know what I mean? A lot of us could be talking about politics, entertainment, all of that, 50 Cent, Rick Ross, but we got to talk about this. You know what I mean? I think they did good. Off the top, shout out to you. You are a member on the channel. Who do y'all have winning in the chat before we start? But let's talk about this. Shout out to Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes in the first round, he said, I ain't asked for this S word. You can get left in a vegetable state when your cabbage gets split. The medical rip. Since you the alien, when they find your body, it's just going to be static and glitches. Static and glips. Oh no. Shout out to Snake Eyes. That's what he said. Snake Eyes in the first, he said, what's different with Duke? You gonna come to my block, Rum, and start mentioning who? I'll click it and shoot. You gonna hear all them toy stories about how Snake went to the boot. That was fire. I don't care what y'all say. It's lit. One thing I do love about this battle is how Snake Eyes' energy was. He was wildin'. Get mad. I said it. He was wildin'. The nostalgic feeling was there watching this battle. When they dropped this is one of them battles you gotta see. Whether you got whoever winning or losing, this is a good battle. You know what I'm saying? Very rarely, like I said, do we get good battles often. A lot of people play around, they freestyle. It's a good battle. But shout out to Snake Eyes. He said, what's the difference with Duke? You gonna come to my block and he said, you gonna come to my block, Rum, and start mentioning who? I click it and shoot. You gonna hear all them tour stories about how Snake went to the boot. Fire. He said, how you flex is nothing. March life, I made the cut because I got heavy substance. If something fly out the chop, your head is busting. The Drake feature comes with a K-Dot, poetic justice. He said, how you flexing is nothing. March life, I made no cut because I got heavy substance. If something fly out from the chop, your head is busting. The Drake feature come with a K-Dot, poetic justice, right? Then Snake Eyes start mentioning like the GOATs, right? Lux and Mook and all that. He said the GOAT stuff clearly ate in your genes, you Jeffrey Jordan, right? Interesting. Shout out to Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes, in the first round, he said, beam on the strap. Y'all know how Snake Eyes be rapping. It's fire. He said, beam on the strap. Watch him put work in. I brought a laser for the alien like Earthworm Jim. Y'all know we used to play that. Shout out to Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes said, N-word, the Glock like Rock Nation brunch. It's an expensive toast, right? Snake Eyes in the first, he said, just know if you see eyes roll back, you were dead N-word. Eyes roll back, you see Snake Eyes roll back. Interesting. You know what I'm saying? What y'all think about that? You see Snake roll back, eyes roll back. What y'all think about that? And then Snake Eyes said, let the Nina talk, shells hit his back, but then come out his chest like a xenomorph. Let me show y'all this real quick. Thug life. It's a xenomorph. You know what I'm saying? This is Snake Eyes talking about. Shout out to Snake Eyes. He said, let the Nina talk. Shells hit his back, but then it come out his chest like a xenomorph. All right. So Snake Eyes, I think he had a pretty good first round, right? Rum Nitty in the first, he said, y'all know he won't survive. He said, y'all know he won't survive. They gonna mourn you at your funeral service. Your folks gonna cry. But they emotional, he said, but their emotions high. Big A obituary picture, and bro was fly. He had a fresh tee, stacked jeans, and dunks on. It really turned you into a poster. Eyes. That's what he said. Shout out to Rum Nitty. Rum Nitty in the first said something that was pretty slick. Shout out to Rum Nitty. He said, I don't even like your raps. You battled J2 in a gay capital and almost got fried from that. Laid in chalk, you died in fact. They say he outlined Snake in the A like the Diamondbacks. That was fire. I don't care what you say. He said they said he outlined Snake in the A, like outlined in chalk, and then he outlined Snake in the A, and then the outline and the Snake in the A, and the outline of the A, Diamondbacks. Fire. Rock with you. He said, I don't even like your raps. You battled J2 in a gay capital and almost got fried in that. Laid in chalk, you died in fact. They say he outlined Snake in the A like the Diamondbacks. All right, that was dope. That was some alien talk from Rum Nitty. Shout out to Rum Nitty. Rum Nitty said in the first, he said, where you get all this I'ma beat a N-word A-cap from? In the fight between you and News, he had this man packed up. You ain't tagged fam once, but you would lie. I heard he socked you in a good eye and bad one. So bad news one, bad one. Socked you in a good eye and the bad one. Shout out to Rum Nitty in the first. My flow ain't like Rum Nitty's, but you know it's Rum Nitty. Shout out to Rum Nitty. Rum Nitty goes ahead and he says in the first, where your hands at, cuz? You lost certainly. You was in there trying to be funny and got dropped urgently. All because you tried to crank on News like Ron Burgundy. Y'all remember that? Let me show y'all that. Y'all remember that? They was kind of roasting each other. It's fire. Shout out to Rum Nitty. Rum Nitty in the first, he said, you lost your S word in a prison riot. It was grisly for him. He had a missing organ. He missed the war and had to turn around and find I, like Wheel of Fortune. I'll raise the heat. Ain't nothing I say make believe. I said by an eye like Wheel of Fortune. That's a vow. But he ended up on A and E, right? Shout out to Rum Nitty. First 48 A and E. Shout out to Rum Nitty. Rum Nitty said in the first pistol whip, recognize features like Face ID. So what he's saying is pistol whipped, recognize features like Face ID. Dope. Pistol whip. Recognize features like Face ID. It's dope. Shout out to you, Rum Nitty. It's fire. I don't care what nobody says. Rum Nitty in the first. He said I could send the Pyrus to stretch him. It's not a game. They gonna say bloodshot eyes like glaucoma and left him in chronic pain. Right? He said I could send the Pyrus to stretch him. It's not a game. They gonna say bloodshot eyes like glaucoma and left him in chronic pain. All right, Rum Nitty, he's heating up. Rum Nitty in the first, he said, I'm done arguing. I made my peace. It's a ghost gun. Rum Nitty said in the first, they was going to unalive you over those Calvin Kleins on the late Tookie. Spray fully. You put Calvin on and almost died. You a boogie. All right. Shout out to Rum Nitty. Rum Nitty, pretty good. Rum Nitty in the first, he said, I think we need to get him help. He got choked up on Cam, jumped on Cam. They stripped his belt. Did prison time. He lost an eye. He like this real hell. He probably hates being him. He want to unalive himself. Snake not even comfortable in his own skin. He should peel himself. Interesting. All right. Shout out to Rum Nitty. In the first round, I like Snake Eyes' delivery. I'm not going to hold you. I like his delivery. Snake Eyes was wildin' in the first. You know what I'm saying? If you are a Snake Eyes fan, you are going to be very, very happy watching this battle. I think he did a good job. If you're a Rum Nitty fan, I don't think he let you down. I think Rum Nitty did all right. I got it 1-0, Rum Nitty. You know, and the reason why, like, I think the writing level was different, you know, in the first. It's like Snake Eyes said a lot. And he, you know, he had a pretty, you know, extensive round. Like, it was a pretty cool round. It wasn't bad at all. It's just like, I think Rum Nitty condensed everything a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? And I think he won the round. That's just me. You know, people are arguing either way. Shout out to Snake Eyes. You argue. You know what I mean? Like, for Snake Eyes or Rum Nitty, it's on y'all. Snake Eyes in a second, he said, I put my men in black wherever the alien at. we meeting them there, right? And the Snake Eyes in a second, he said, this my year, they calling you God tier. You don't get, all right, so Snake Eyes is, yeah, okay, yeah. So he said, this is my year, they calling you God tier. You don't give me no vibe as a hustler, you finna die here. You never had to eat off the arm like a baby in a high chair. I thought that was fire when he said that, bro. You never had to eat off the arm like a baby in a high chair. That's fire, bro. I don't care what nobody said. He said, this my year. They calling you God tier. You don't give me no hustler vibes. You finna die here. You never had to eat off the arm like a baby in a high chair. I heard it before, but I like the way he said it to him. It was fire. Shout out to Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes in a second, he said, they say the alien came from the stars and I'ma send him back in a hearse. If I clap in the murk, N-word whole planet soft, so why y'all got me battling Smurfs? Right? That's what he said. Snake Eyes in a second, he said, we ain't the same, bro. You ain't got half my genes. You can't match what I've seen. We was in the jails getting money. It was that on the scene. Trapping the weed. They even had to flip my pillow twice just to capture a dream. That was fire. I don't care what y'all say. It was lit. That was fire. He said, we ain't the same, bro. You ain't got half my genes. You can't match what I've seen. We was in the jails getting money. It was like that on the scene. Trapping the weed. They even had to flip my pillow twice just to capture a dream. That was fire. I don't care what y'all say. It was lit. Shout out to Snake Eyes. What y'all think about that? Snake Eyes in a second, he said, Jaden Smith at the Grammys, I can put a whole house on your head. All right? Yeah, I remember Jaden Smith at the Grammys. All right? Snake Eyes in a second, he said, you're in my domain, featherweight. Every day, N-words in the projects trying to keep the stress away. Weapon spray. Split the alien sauce in half, then call it Section 8. They went crazy for that. Shout out to Snake Eyes, right? Snake Eyes in a second, he said, F the alien, I know mad goblins. Her N-words in Phoenix been talking bad about them. Auntie, granny, uncle, sad column, silver strap, black bottom. Shoot up your mothership and turn that into your dad's problems. Shout out to Snake Eyes. That was actually fire. Shout out to Snake Eyes. Rum Nitty and Snake Eyes had some fire. Shout out to them. Rum Nitty and Snake Eyes in a second, he said, I'm taking one in the, he said, yeah, I'm talking one in the head like a Hassan Campbell thumbnail, right? And then Rum Nitty in a second, he said, I really be blanking for this N-word to say he winning today is ridiculous statement. Gotta be smoking dope or sniffing cane then. Strung out, keys, high as a kite like Benjamin Franklin. Then Rum Nitty said, you not my caliber. That Hitman show don't make you an accomplished battler. I've been all across the globe, he said, and dog and amateur. We only remember you for bags and bodies like Johnny Tapia, right? Shout out to Rum Nitty. All right. Rum Nitty said, he must be drunk. Who got snake on a crown royal like Nefertiti, right? He said he must be drunk. Who got snake on a crown royal like Nefertiti? Shout out to Snake Eyes and Rum Nitty. Rum Nitty's wildin'. Rum Nitty goes ahead and he said, N-words be getting they self hurt. He said, I could show you about life or death and how heaven and hell work. Up in the tech and shell burst. He said, bullet hit snake. Look like I'm wearing out an eighth. Tearing the scale first, right? Shout out to Rum Nitty. Rum Nitty said, you was walking a thin line and lost points because of stumbles like a balance beam. He said, I doubt you swing because you can't scrap when N-words bring up the situation. I know you hate that. Straight facts. They had this man afraid. I knew you was a little rattlesnake, but you will shake back. You know, he did that. I thought it was all right. Snake Eyes in a sec. Rum Nitty in a second, he said, I couldn't wait for this. To an overpass in Brooklyn where I take this B-word. Feel like a breath of fresh air when he went over the bridge like a nasal strip. I thought that was all right. He said, I couldn't wait for this. To an overpass in Brooklyn where I take this B-word. Feel like a breath of fresh air when he went over the bridge like a nasal strip. All right. Rum Nitty in a second, he says some mean things, right? Rum Nitty says, you ain't no player, just stop. You was crying over that Miss Pac B word on cam. You think we forgot? Scraping the pot. Wife in the H word, H-O-E. Y'all know what H word I'm talking about. Wife in the H word, the homie smashed before saying to these thoughts, you was out here trying to he said, you was out here trying to be Miss Pac-Man and found out she ate all the dots. It's crazy. Y'all know Miss Pac-Man be eating dots. I don't know. Rum Nitty is wilding. He said, you ain't no player, just stop. You was crying over Miss Pac. He said, you was crying over the Miss Pac B word on camera. You think we forgot? Scraping the pot. Wife in the H word, the homie smashed before saying these thoughts. You was out here trying to be Miss Pac-Man and found out she ate all of the dots. Interesting. Rum Nitty in a second, he said, he kind of ends it. He's like, can't be surprised. This was a dead giveaway. 7 pounds, right? Y'all remember 7 Pounds movie? He said, can't be surprised. This was a dead giveaway. Eyez, 7 pounds. Okay. I thought that was all right. If I'm looking at the second round, there was a point in the second I didn't mention where Snake Eyez kind of, it looked like he kind of lost where he was at, right? And then Rum Nitty kind of starts like, all right, it's on me, like he's trying to rap. And Snake Eyez kind of gets where he was. You know what I'm saying? Get back to where he was, and he like Snake Eyez finishes out his round. So like if you look at that and like different things, it's like Snake Eyez had a decent round, but Rum Nitty's round was like way cleaner. You know what I'm saying? And then like his materials a little bit, I feel like better condensed. You know, so I had Rum Nitty up 2-0. I see people like arguing for Snake Eyez, but I just me personally, like writing it down, watching it, you know, I had Rum Nitty up 2-0. That's just me, right? Snake Eyez in the third, he said the clip looked like hot wings, so don't get hit with a spicy drum, right? And then Snake Eyez said in the third, he said, let me paint a heck of a picture. Veteran spitter, go to the small league, Adam Sandler, hooping with the regular killers. Y'all know how Adam Sandler be, you know, just popping up everywhere like he ain't famous. Shout out to Adam Sandler. Snake Eyez said in the third, basically the strap like custom model like Tyson's trainer. And then Snake Eyez said in the third, he said, I punched through slander and y'all bought tickets to watch Snake beat his A-word like Kung Fu Panda, right? So it's just like the like you see like writing differences like in the battle, right? Because Snake Eyez is saying things like, I punched through slander and y'all bought tickets to watch Snake beat his A-word like Kung Fu Panda. And then like the setups and stuff that Rum Nitty gets you, it's just like a little writing difference, right? So then in the third, Snake Eyez said, you in the home of Nas N-word and you know what the word is, or we could have battled in AZ and I could have handled Firm Biz, right? So y'all remember that, the Firm. Shout out to AZ, the Firm. Snake Eyez said in the third, he said, how the H word is the alien afraid of the spaces. When they trying to do a face-off in the spaces or something, I mean, he said, how the heck is the alien afraid of the spaces? Shout out to him. And then Snake Eyez said in the third, he said, Blade turned his cheek to a new pair of phone posits. All right, I've heard that a lot, right? Rum Nitty in the third said, I don't believe nothing that came from that skanky B word about you and no R word and stuff, right? Y'all know how that kind of went on online. Can't say that on YouTube. He said, even if it looked like you got to force H words to get a little P word, I don't think you did that. He said, let me make that clear. But we all know very well you was trying to F on that ugly B word, so accept this L. He said she looked like really real mixed with Melly Mel, and he looked like Shrek himself, horrified. That's the only way I can describe Rock Lee, with eyes like Veggie Tales. Rum Nitty's being a little mean. Shout out to Rum Nitty. He's wilding. Rum Nitty in the third, he said, you thought that H word was decent and developed some feelings from the B word and couldn't control them either. He was stalking her all through that Bags and Bodies house. It was open season. Wherever she went, Eyez was following. Mona Lisa. You know what I'm saying? Y'all tell me what y'all think. Y'all know Mona Lisa kind of like her eyes be following you. You know? Interesting. Rum Nitty said in the third, he said he gonna be deceased. It's gonna be an open casket so his peeps can see him sleep in peace. But they can't even grieve. When they close the coffin top, he's in a lock box like B&B. Right? Then Rum Nitty had a clever line. He said, I take one look at Snake Eyez and lose my mind like Jafar's staff, right? I've heard people say it before. I like the way he said it in the battle. Shout out to Rum Nitty. Then Rum Nitty said something. I think he had like an Aaron the Plumber line. He said, this year, brother, he said, this year burial, brother. I run up. Y'all know how Rum Nitty. He said, this year burial, brother. I run up on the whip, Aaron the Thumper. Hit the engine, trying to knock out the transmission like Aaron the Plumber. Y'all remember Aaron the Plumber? He's kind of getting into it with Whack 100. All of that. You know what I'm saying? He's in the media. How do I got the battle, right? I think the battle actually is a pretty decent watch. I wasn't like bored watching the battle. I thought it was a decent battle, right? It's one of the, I would say, top 10 battles this year, right? We ain't really had that many battles this year, for real. I would say probably one of the top 10 battles this year. I think Snake Eyez did really good. And Snake Eyez not being on Cody, I don't know what the deal was with that. My personal opinion, like, I think he should have been, but, you know, I wasn't up there arguing. But Snake Eyez, he did really good. Rum Nitty did good. I think Rum Nitty got all 3 rounds. You know, I see people arguing Snake Eyez 2-1, all of that, but I think Nitty just got all 3 rounds, in my opinion. You know, just my opinion. But it depends on what you like, right? To some people, like if you just like the snake, you know, the aggression, the nostalgic feeling of watching somebody just yelling at somebody, you know, you might like the way Snake Eyez is writing. But if you looking at material that's like crafted a little bit better, you know, and condensed, then you're gonna look at Rum Nitty, you know. And Rum Nitty's not just standing there; he's got, you know, he's animated like when he's talking too. So it depends on what y'all like. You know what I mean? But if I'm sitting there judging it, that's how I would have to